Now, still talking education, recently Uwezo launched what it calls Assessment of Life Skills and Values, ALiVE activities program. Now, the program is centered on enhancing parental roles in improving learning outcomes among children in the country. And to help us understand how ALiVE works, we turn to Stella Rose Akongo, the core principal investigator from Action for Life Skills and Values in East Africa. Thank you, Stella, for joining us on Talk of the Nation.
Thank you, Madrid.
So first things first, let us unpack or look at the overview of this ALiVE program. What informed the decision to have it? What does it entail, and how is it going to work going forward?
Thank you so much. So ALiVE is Actions for Life Skills and Values in East Africa. It's a 10-year program now. We started in 2020, and our next phase goes up to 2029. Why this program started was because of the need that was there. There was already a rollout of the competence-based education, but there were glaring gaps in terms of capacity to integrate skills into the curriculum, into the assessments, into teaching and learning processes. So the ALiVE team, which is a huge team of over 14 currently, civil society organizations across East Africa, came together to say, what can we do to help us understand the skills? What are these skills in our local context? How do we define them? How do we, assess them? What is the best way to assess them? Because up till that point, what was present were a lot of tools that were from the Global South to assess the skills. So we came together with the desire to understand the skills, but then to assess them. And so we developed that tool in 2022. We assessed over 45,000 adolescents, 13 to 17 years across East Africa. And that gave us a great picture of the current reality then of the adolescents in terms of their competencies around these skills. So it was clear to us through that report that very few of the adolescents had gained the competence in these skills. We looked at problem solving, collaboration, self-awareness, and the value of respect. And very few. For Uganda, for example, we had 2% of adolescents 13 to 17 demonstrating competence in problem-solving skill.
Which is way below.
Which is way below.
And how are you looking at matching them up to the expected standard?
So we launched into phase 2 of the program that was looking at how best can we support the teaching in the classroom so that the teachers are able to intentionally nurture the values and also develop the skills through their teaching, adopting new pedagogies or pedagogical approaches that support developing the skills and nurturing of the values. And then we also worked with the assessment entities to see how best can we assess these skills. How best can we, working with the curriculum institutions, how best can we develop even a learning progression that helps us to know what is reasonable for a child in a different, when we look at problem solving, it manifests differently across different grades. So what is reasonable for a child in primary 1? What is reasonable for a child in senior 3? And so mapping out that and being able to support the teachers with clear, concrete indicators that even when they're teaching in classroom, they're able to say, okay, this is what I would be supporting. And these are the activities that I can do with the child or with the children in the classroom to support developing the skills. So we are in that phase where we're working with the teachers and the curriculum experts, the assessment experts, to see how best we can, support the teaching and the learning process so that it's intentional in nurturing the skills and the values.
Yes. Also, another element that I wouldn't want us to miss is involving parents.
Yes.
Ensuring that they also have a part to play in instilling these skills or teaching these skills to their students. But how are you going to engage the parents, given that most times they are left out when these decisions are made of the new curricula, and you find that they have no idea of what is being taught or what it entails? How are you going to handle that?
So we built in the program an intentional drive to support parents to create awareness, first of all, for them to understand what are these skills. The curriculum has shifted. There is competence-based education. Do they understand it? When we talk of competence-based, when we talk of skills, when you go to school and you're engaging even with the parents, when you talk of skills, they will tell you of bidding or handwork or something. that is hands-on skill, and that is what they've picked up out of the curriculum. But we are looking at skills like problem solving, we are looking at skills like creative and critical thinking. So helping the parents to understand what are these skills, what can you do as a parent to support your child, even at home.
What are some of the skills, for example?
We are currently running a campaign with the 6 districts across the country to support parents, you know, understand the skills, but also be intentional in nurturing and developing the skills. One of the skills we're working with right now is problem solving.
Okay.
So problem solving, we are telling parents, what is problem solving? How can you support your child to develop problem solving skills? One of the ways we are intentionally engaging the parents is to ask them and support them to discuss and engage children in asking questions, you know, encouraging curiosity, for example, for them to model as well, even as parents, modeling problem solving skills themselves, but also allowing the children to just be curious and give that environment for children to be curious, to ask questions, to engage with the parents, to speak, and the parents listen back.
I'm wondering how you're going to be doing it, especially at the rural areas or at the rural level, given that this report that we've just watched about Kabong, where parents do not believe in education, they think their children believe in belong in the fields and in the gardens. How are you going to change a mindset of such a parent, and how are they even going to be able to instill the skills that you are talking about?
When we're talking of mindset change, there's some structural things that we need to be patient with as well, even as we get into the communities. I personally come from Karamoja, and when you talk of people not, you know, wanting their children to go to school, I was a part of that system, and I know, you know, what my parents did to make sure I stay in school and keep studying and you know, be what I am today. So it takes patience, but also it takes intentionality. You know, like moving out to the communities and speaking to these people and painting the picture that, you know, it's good that your child can take care of cattle or cows or whatever in the field. But there is this component. The world is not about cattle. It's not about cows. We appreciate the culture that we've grown in. We appreciate the fact that this is our livelihood. This is how we have lived up till this point. But moving forward, you need to learn even how to take care of that cattle itself. You know, you need some education. You need to get into the classroom to get some new skills of how do I multiply, for example, these cows? How do I treat them when they fall sick? How do I grow the herd and make sure I have more? So that kind of thing, you can't get it in the kraal. You get it in the classroom. And you know, you get it when you engage in learning processes. So it's work that everyone in the community, in the society need to be involved in to speak and advocate and speak for the child, you know, and let parents appreciate this. And I know they listen.
Okay. Won't this be too much for the learners? I mean, they already have the notes, the books that they have to read. They're already engaging in so many classes. Just before we came on air, I was telling you that, you know, in some schools there is going to be morning preps, there is going to be evening preps. Then there are those that have candidates extension. And also we've just watched a story where education experts are concerned that overstudying is going to lead to a mental breakdown for the students.
For sure, holistic development is not about one aspect of it. It involves the study, it involves the play, it involves the rest, it involves the physical activity. So teachers and parents and every person that really is concerned about the welfare and the overall development of children should be concerned when they listen to a report where someone is saying, you know, you have to study, you have to be in class from 7 to 7. You have to be in class from Monday to Sunday. I personally had some quarrels with some of my children's teachers, and I told them, no, my child can't go to school over the weekend because this child needs to rest. If there's work she has to do at home, give her something that is reasonable for her to do. But we cannot keep the children in the books consistently. Studies have shown in a number of ways that too much, you know, of book retards and takes the child back even from that learning and development that you're expecting the child to achieve. So I am an advocate for balance.
Yes.
That a child needs time to rest, a child needs time to study, a child needs time to play, a child needs time to socialize. And this is something that I believe parents can and should take seriously, that if you are pushing the child, you know, already there's too much.
Yeah.
There's too much.
There's
so what
pressure.
we are doing is we're using the formal channels, the formal, not formal, the everyday, you know, discussions that happen in the household. For the, it's not an extra work. It's not like we are giving you more assignment to go and do with your child. No, as you sit over dinner with your child, encourage questioning, encourage curiosity, ask them about that, give them open-ended questions that does not seek for one answer, you know, and give them time to think through the problem or the question or whatever it is without just shooting out one right answer. Or helping
them to solve it. So finally, in a second or two, as we conclude this, do you see this ALiVE program shaping the education sector as a whole in Uganda?
We are already seeing it in a number of ways. We have seen the change, the transformation, the mindset shift, even within the teacher training institutions. You'll believe with me that while the curriculum shifted in the classroom, that shift did not happen in teacher training institutions.
Yes, it didn't.
It didn't happen. So we are pushing that shift, that side, and working with teacher educators and saying, hey, let's move towards this direction. And we are seeing traction in that area. We are seeing a number of teacher educators coming on board and desiring to understand, you know, the method that we are using in trying to define and understand and break down the skill into a way that they can nurture. Already that is growth. That is a traction.
All right. Thank you so much, Stella. I hope the parents now know that as they are demanding for good grades from their children, they know they also have a part to play.
They do.
Yes. So thank you so much for making time to speak to us. Stella Rose, a Congo co-principal investigator from Action for Life Skills and Values in East Africa. And with that, we take a break. When we return, we'll be hearing from the world of sport.